All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm going to talk for a few minutes here, just frame today's agenda while we wait for everybody to kind of keep joining here and getting settled. But I want to welcome everybody to our 15th anniversary celebration. Any of you on that don't know me yet, I'm Allan Dwyer, President of Irish Whiskey Society America. And, I guess a big day. Never didn't really think much about it, to be honest with you, but 15 years, fairly long time. And we're going to go through a number of things today. We're going to reveal the final 5 favorite whiskeys that you guys all voted for. If you've been following along and reading the newsletters or social media, you'll see that we've already announced the 15 through 6 favorites. We're also going to reveal the 8 mystery whiskeys that were part of the Guess the Whiskey contest. And along with that, the top 5 guessers and the prizes that they'll be awarded. Along the way, we're going to be doing some live bonus giveaways, some kind of couple of other Guess the Whiskey type contests, and one that will just be kind of a random giveaway. But, so hopefully everybody can kind of stay till the end. I'm going to try to keep things moving along. I know many of you also acquired the whiskey package of 6 whiskeys, so that we'll be doing along the way as well. Real quick backdrop. A lot of you know the story. Some of you might even have been there, but 15 years ago this month, Whiskey Priest in Boston, some of us got together. That's where we all started. If you know the story too of our whiskey release last year, The Next Parish Over, that was kind of an homage to this. So this bar no longer exists in Boston. It's now condos, but that's where it all started a long time ago. Just a few of us in Boston. Now we're across the country in, I think, 43 states. So a lot of you that have joined today, kind of representing a lot of different states. One of the things we'll do too, so it's kind of a prepared program that we'll go through, but at the end, once we've kind of gotten through the awards and winners and things like that, I'll just open it up to whoever's left, and we'll do more of a just general discussion about anything you guys might like to talk about. So what I'd like to do now, as far as welcome kickoff toast, is I'd like to introduce some special guests that we have. I should have mentioned too, the chat function is up, so please use that. And that'll be needed too with some of the contests we're going to do along the way. But anyway, the kickoff toast is also for those who have the whiskey package, whiskey number 1. So you get that ready if you haven't already. But what I chose was the 15-year-old blend from HINCH Distillery. And we're going to raise a glass, so I'll give everyone a chance to pour that if you haven't already. And then I'd like to introduce some brand ambassadors from HINCH Distillery who were nice enough to join us today. Terry, and I know you're on. Is your colleague on as well?
Yes. Hello, guys. There is a bit of background noise here. So we are joining you live from Salem this afternoon. We
Oh.
very stupidly thought that we would be able to get into a bar to do this, and everything's queued out. So we are in the North Shore Glass School, and we've been very kind to let us use a bit of their workshop space. So we needed glasses, and stumbled across this place that do really cool glass making workshops. So, but yeah, so this is I'm Terry. I'm the brand ambassador for Hinch Distillery. This is Will, our head distiller and distillery manager.
Thank you both for joining us. They're in town, New England area, I think with some other colleagues as well. And so we'll do this toast and then we're going to let them tell a little bit about the whiskey and then kind of why they're in town in the States as well. So before we go any further, I want to just say thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone for, 15 years making the club happen and keep going. Hopefully many more years to come, but sláinte everyone. And with that, Terry, I'll let you guys maybe tell us a little bit about the 15-year blend and then the launch of your new whiskeys in the States.
Yep. So, yeah, the 15-year-old said it's well timed with the anniversary of the club. We released this whiskey about 2 years ago. So it's an Oloroso sherry finish, 46% non-chill filter. So to me, it's a lovely dram for this time of year, coming into autumn at the start of winter. Sherry finishes always give me that real like autumnal kind of bits of cinnamon, clove, nutmeg. You're getting into those warm winter spices. I started in the distillery as a tour guide. So for me, like sherry finishes always have a lovely significant like historical link. The reason that sherry finishes generally are so popular, in the 1580s, the Spanish Armada invaded the west coast of Ireland, and there was loads of shipwrecks along the area. About 50 odd years later, whiskey taxation came in. So 1661 was the first ever whiskey tax, and people started to smuggle their liquid in the wrong type of barrel. And when the Spanish left, they had left behind three things. And that was sherry from Spain, port from Portugal, and pregnant women from Derry. So we started to use the sherry casks to smuggle the barrels, or to smuggle the liquid rather, across borders, and it took on different flavors and spices, and a whole different color characteristic that Irish whiskey had never really seen before. And it stood the test of time. So for 400 years, sherry's it's always been a real staple of whiskey maturation and finishing. So for us to say the 15-year-old was a nice yeah, kind of a lean into that. They're a bit different with their branding as well, because it's the first whiskey we've released in a tube, and it's the only tube in the north of Ireland to have a cardboard puck, so it's completely recyclable. But yeah, the liquid itself, say in the chat comment section there, or if anybody wants to shout out if they have any kind of thoughts on taste, on the nose. See, Matt saying this is delicious. Matt, you're absolutely correct.
I'll tell you a little bit about the liquid itself. So it is a blended Irish whiskey. Youngest whiskey that we have in this is obviously 15 years old. But it's made up of a 22-year-old single malt, and then there's three types of grain in there as well. So we've got a 15, a 16, and a 17-year-old grain whiskies, and it's only ever produced in batches of about 2,000 bottles. So what you guys still have in your hand is batch one. And again, every time we bring this out, it might be a slightly different ABV, and the blend ratio could be a little bit different batch on batch as well. But basically, it's the 22-year-old single malt that we have in there has been aged for 19 years in refill bourbon barrels, and then we finish that for 3 years in first fill Oloroso hogsheads, and it's the same with the grain. So all of those grain elements, the 15, 16, and 17-year-old, has spent 2 full years in Oloroso, first fill Oloroso sherry barrels. bottled at 46% non-chill filtered. Last year at the Irish Whiskey Awards, this won the best blended Irish whiskey, which is quite remarkable when you consider the size of the Irish whiskey market and it's predominantly blended whiskies in that category as well. So with your coming in alongside your Middleton Very Rares, etc. A bottle that we priced back home at about £60 for a bottle to win the overall blended whiskey was something we're very proud of.
Yeah, I think and it's a great value too. I picked up a bottle when we visited this past May for our group trip to the distillery. So I know some of you on the video event now were there, and left there with quite a few different bottles. But this one I picked up and thought it, kind of for obvious reasons, given it was a 15-year, would make for a good kickoff toast for our anniversary event. And I know you guys are also in town doing making some connections and deals for your new releases that are hitting the States this month, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've just launched. We got here last Sunday. So we're just relaunching our brand across New England. And that's being done by a company called Bay State Wine and Spirits. Those guys are our importers for New England. So we've just been over out with their sales managers over the last week, spending some time with them, getting to understand the market a little bit better. And then we had a sales meeting with them Friday, again, just about how we launch across the rest of Christmas, pretty much, and listings and et cetera, and just trying to build some more brand awareness.
Yeah.
And I know these two whiskeys, I want to say, were May releases.
April, May, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was just before Whiskey Live in Dublin.
Yep, because I think we tried them when we were at the distillery. What can you tell us about the two single malts, the new ones?
So these are basically the inaugural releases from the distillery. So from when we started producing whiskey back in 2020, these are the first independent single malts from our distillery. So it was a huge deal for us. They're both non-age statement, and obviously you've got one that's peated and one that's unpeated. The single malt, which on the front of the label it says bourbon and Oloroso. I'm not meant to tell everyone this, but there's a small proportion of ruby port and Shiraz in that as well. So it's 100% single malt. Part of what we do with our whiskey is all of our barley is 100% Irish sourced, so it doesn't come in from any other countries. And the part of our goal or ambition over the next number of years is to bring all of that barley procurement to within County Down, so within 25 kilometers of the distillery.
And when I think a couple people have asked in the chat, when and where will these whiskeys be available?
So they at the minute they are now in market through Bay State, so you can get them everywhere across New England, all across New England. But if you have a local liquor store, you can, if you go in and ask them for it and to get it in through Bay State, they will list it for you in those stores. You can still buy it directly from our website. It would be a bit more expensive from our website than it would be buying it in a liquor store over here, and just with alcohol taxes, etc., being much more expensive back home.
Yeah, I think that with the tariffs and shipping costs and some other things, it's gotten a little tougher for some to get delivery.
Those two single malts that you see on the screen at the minute, they are in market and they will retail between $30 and $32. If you bought it directly from our website, it's probably going to cost you about $40. Just with the logistics that it has to go through.
Mm-hmm. When will it be showing up in stores outside of New England
So
in the near future?
yeah, it'll probably be after Christmas, so probably closer March and around St. Patrick's Day.
Mhm.
Our focus is on New England at the moment, up until Christmas. We just don't have the resources or the bodies to cover more and more states. But once we get through Christmas, our focus is on expanding outside of New England.
Well, I do appreciate you guys, coming on. We like to support, all the distilleries, particularly when they're doing their launches in the States, and then to, get the information out there to make it available so the members can buy it. Because I know all the members that visited the distillery back in May had a great time and really enjoyed a lot of the whiskeys that we were able to sample that day. So I think, I know we were looking forward to when these would be available in the States.
Yeah, well, thank you for the platform to kind of shout about it. It's worth mentioning. So the two on screen, we have the single malt and the peated single malt. And we've also launched our slightly younger blended whiskies as well, slightly older blended whiskies. So there's the 5-year double wood and our small batch bourbon cask. And again, around that 32, the small batch is actually on the lower side of it, is probably going to retail about 25. And our gin as well, the ninth wave. So we've 5 products that we'll be pushing. And then anything more bespoke, like our 15-year-old, is there through the website.
Will the blends be similar white labeling to the malts here, or because I know originally you had the small batch and the double wood blends that have been
Yeah.
around here for a few years now.
Yeah, so basically this was us transitioning from sourced whiskey to our own distilled
Mhm.
whiskies at this point. So anything that you see with that a color band on the bottom, so that cream off white on the top, and then the burgundy for the single malt, grey for the peated, navy will be for small batch, and then we've got green for the double wood. That simply just indicates that that is now our whiskey. It's no longer sourced. So we changed the labels just to ultimately to mark that occasion. You'll see some of if you come across stores that have some Hinch products, again with that blue label, you'll see over time that they will reduce in price. So any savings that we have had by integrating our own whiskey has been passed directly on to the consumer.
Okay, great. No, it's congratulations, guys. It's great. I mean, when we back 15 years ago first started this, there were 3 operational distilleries. There were not a lot of whiskeys to choose from. So it's great that there are so many now that are operational and are actually releasing their first whiskeys. There's been a lot in the last probably 18 months or so. So this is great. So um, thanks again for joining and sharing your insights on those. Um, we can, I think circle back potentially later if you have any other questions for them. We can talk. Um,
What
at a-
one thing I will say before we go on is
Yep.
I will, for the guys that are potentially looking to purchase a bottle, it'll take me until tomorrow, but I'll generate a discount code exclusive for you guys that we can leave open for a week or something like that. I'll share it with you, and if you can share that with everyone,
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
like,
Appreciate it. I think everyone would like that.
just for any of the guys that can't get it or that aren't based in New England. So I'll send that tonight or tomorrow morning, if that's okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Appreciate it. And yeah, again, I hope and you guys feel free to stay on um and watch our I guess program as you go, but I understand if you have to run, particularly if you're in a pub. But so we're gonna kind of move on to some of the um favorite whiskeys, guess the whiskey contest, things like that. Again, we'll continue with the other 5 whiskeys. I should have said maybe up front, if it wasn't clear what to those who did get the whiskeys. We've got two of them are cast strength, and we do have favorites numbers 1 and 2. In case you're wondering, I tried to space them out as well as do samples that we haven't done before in some fashion in other tastings. So having said all that, I'll keep things moving along a little bit, and we'll do the first guess the whiskey.
Just before you jump into that, guys, we're going to bounce on because we have a haunting tour booked in for 5 o'clock. So,
all right,
we're going to move on to
again,
see different sort of spirits.
All right,
hopefully.
have
But thank
fun,
you very
and
much for taking
thanks
the
again
time.
for joining us. I appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy the rest of your tasting, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye bye.
All right, so I wanted to have a lead up to our event in October. So one of the things I did in addition to the favorite voting that we did on the whiskeys was to try this contest where we'd guess mystery whiskeys with some clues. And so I know a number of you participated. Again, I'm going to go through each one. We're going to have one of those samples is actually one of these. I'll kind of get you the hang of how I did these, explain it a little bit, and then we're going to have 3 live ones. Give you guys who didn't participate or didn't win just another chance to win some prizes today on some whiskeys. So the first whiskey, number 1, was actually, I was a little surprised. I thought this one would be easier, but I should say I did try to make the clues a little bit AI proof. I figured everyone was going to Google search or AI, and I didn't want everybody to figure out all the whiskeys right out of the gate. And then there wouldn't have been anything really to do in months 2 and 3 leading up to this. So some of clue 1s are more difficult than others. Some are easier. I kind of tried to balance it out. But this first one, whiskey number 1, I think the first clue was the clue that threw everybody off. I think everybody focused more on the with the color on things like the spot whiskeys and red breast, green spot, things like that with the actual color, where really the focus was more on the word family and colorful family. And that was really a reference for tealing, the color teal. The second clue was a reference to the location in the Liberties and the tanning industry that went on there, specifically the Black Pits area. And then the third clue, barbecue, was just a reference to the smoky whiskey that is Teeling Black Pits. So again, Hank, not literal. But so I think what you're going to see in the first couple of these is just maybe the way my mind works. But again, I tried to make it so it wouldn't be so AI easy to solve. But many of you did get this, but I think a lot were probably thrown off by the first clue, which again was kind of the idea. But peated whiskey from Teeling, widely available in the States. I know a lot of you tried it. So that was the whiskey number 1 from the contest. The favorite 15 contests that people voted on. Again, this was just a members only vote, unlike the IWSA contest we do, which we do allow non-members to participate. But just kind of a rehash, or if you haven't followed along, I've been releasing kind of one a week for a while now. But these were the first five. Number 15 was Blackbush from Bushmills, nice sherry blend. Writer's Tears, Copper Pot, their original blend of pot still and malt. And then the first of quite a few red breasts. The first one, number 13, was the Lustau Sherry Expression. Then we had the Powers 3 Swallow. And then the Red Breast PX Sherry was number 11. So those are the first five. I did not include any of these in the sampling pack that you have. And the reasons for that, I think, will be more obvious as we go forward. But we'll talk about that more kind of when we get there. Whiskey number 2. Again, I want to give you an idea of how this worked, because then we're going to do some live ones and give people another opportunity to maybe redeem themselves. But number 2, clue number 1, first of its kind, was, I think, fairly self-explanatory, but was in reference to the style of whiskey. Clue number 2, forceful, was just a synonym for the brand name. Clue 3, the launch. For those of you who were members then or remember, we did the USA launch back in February of 22 of Powers Rye. So this is a 100% Irish rye whiskey, first of its kind. And we kind of did a virtual event like we're doing today. And it included a Manhattan-based cocktail and some other things. And there were a lot of giveaways at the time, but this was a pretty big launch, permanent addition to the Powers range, readily available here in the States. And I thought more people would get this one, to be honest with you. But because I want to say there are some diehard Powers fans, I won't call you out by name, but that did not get this one. Think you know who I'm talking about, Hank? But so I think you guys, I don't know, maybe you're all saying, oh, geez, that makes so much more sense now. But uh, so hopefully that helps you out a little bit. And when we do the live ones, you'll be able to, again, they'll make more sense. All right, so keep it moving. Individual, we'll do the next five, but the number 10 whiskey, again, these 10 through 6 were released in the last month's newsletter, as well as they've been all individually released in social media over the last few weeks. But number 10 Blue Spot is the number 2 whiskey in the sample pack for those that have the whiskeys. So you'll see, it should say, I think CS for cast strength. And on the bottom will be number 2. So I'll give people a second. But Blue Spot is within the spot range. It's the only cast strength version as far as the core permanent range. 7-year age statement. So it's the youngest of the spots with an age statement. And the other distinction would be the use of Madeira casks in the finishing. So that is pour, again, pour number 2 in the packages if you have it. So if you do, or if you have a bottle handy and want to grab it, slancha. I don't know if, did anybody have this as their number 1 favorite? I can't remember now. But Blue Spot, I think, is the most recent permanent edition. They've done a lot of one-offs, particularly around the Green Spot brand. But a number of spots at this point. I think if you've been watching the social media posts or stuff, you'll see that a number of others made the list that we're going to go through as well. But that's number 10 and whiskey number 2 in your package for those that grabbed it. All right. So now I'm going to give you guys a chance to win some prizes. This is a live Guess the Whiskey. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal the clues. Rather than having everyone yell out, I'm going to let you type in your guesses, and that way it'll be easy for me to tell who was able to get the guess in first. And what I'm going to do is start this, and as you go, make your guesses. Getting worried there that no one was going to get it. Looks like Hank got in with the guess. I thought so. Again, just to kind of explain my way my crazy mind works, chest rash is a reference to Redbreast. Taylor family owns the wood farm forest that was the wood used to do the Kentucky oak edition, bluegrass, a reference to Kentucky to get to the Redbreast Kentucky oak limited edition. So congratulations, Hank. You are the winner of the first bonus whiskey live edition, and the prize is a little bit of a little whiskey pack with a Irish Whiskey Society America ceramic shot glass. Was everybody able to see the hints? I just want to make sure because we do have a couple more of these. Okay. All right, so that's kind of how that'll work. We'll do a few more of those things like that along the way. A lot of this I'm just kind of leading up to revealing the final 5, and then we'll kind of just open it up to where we can just have more of a group discussion. So I do appreciate you guys bearing with me as we go along here. But so I'll keep it moving. So kind of like I think I mentioned, string of spots among the favorites now. The yellow spot came in at number 9. This is the 12-year with the Malaga wine finish being probably the two of the distinctions of this particular one. And that brings us to the whiskey number 3 in the contest. Ken, to reveal this was what I tried to do with this whole thing too is I wasn't trying to really trick anybody as far as using like super obscure, references or anything. So they were all, except for a couple, which I wanted to be difficult because I didn't want everyone to get all the answers in the first month again. But um, the third whiskey, um, I think the first clue threw people off, maybe focused on cocktail, um, and then just guessed cocktails instead of. But the Nola cocktail was a reference to New Orleans' famous cocktail, which was a reference to the brand owner. The clue number 2 was a reference to the brand name. So around Thanksgiving, around St. Patrick's Day, you'll see a lot of posts and people jumping on the St. Patrick's Day bandwagon. A lot are not necessarily Irish, and they'll spell it wrong and refer to it wrong as Patty instead of Patty. And a lot of the times you'll see people come back with it's not Patty, it's not your Aunt Patty, that kind of thing. So that's what that reference was. And salesman was the final clue, which was a reference to Patty, who was the salesman for the brand for decades. Nola Cocktail, Sazerac is the brand owner. So a lot of people got it right from that because they hadn't owned a lot of whiskey brands. But that's how we got to Patty's. Again, so I was picking whiskeys that were fairly common, widely available for the most part, so that, um, I wasn't trying to do obscure things that nobody would have heard of. So that was the third in the Guess the Whiskey contest. Uh, Number 8 in the favorites was the third in a row of the spot range, the green spot, the original. So this, fairly important whiskey was the only one of the spot range for a long time, and wasn't available here until I want to say 2011, 12 time frame. It was something that most people tried to get when they went to Dublin. Oops. And, once it came here, they rebranded, and all the subsequent spots that have been released now have the new branding. But this was kind of a cult whiskey there for a while, particularly when we first started the club back in 2010. So I'm not surprised that that this made the top 10. I think you'll notice a lot of what we've been showing you so far, very Middleton centric. So you guys do have a uh, predilection for a lot of the Middleton stuff. Okay. Whiskey number 4 in the contest. It's funny, I thought this one would be more difficult. This one, I think, was an easier one for people. So shows you what I know. People got this one pretty quickly on the first clue in a lot of cases. And, other ones that I thought were easier, you didn't get. So, but anyway, unrelated to Davy was a reference to Davy Crockett, which people got. And then figured out that that's Barry Crockett. Not That Tea Maker was another reference to Barry's tea, saying not that Barry. The third was probably the most difficult of the three, but this was a reference to beef shepherd's pie or cottage pie, the cottage on the Middleton grounds, uh, where born and lived. So that's anyone who's maybe done the tour there knows that historic little tidbit. But those were the three clues to get to the whiskey that was made in honor of Barry Crockett, the master distiller for decades at Middleton. A lovely pot still. So I think a lot of people got that. All right. And whiskey number 7 is the Barry Crockett legacy. So I probably don't have to tell you guys about him. Maybe that's why a lot of people were able to guess that one, because it's one of the favorites that you have. All right, it brings back to another bonus Guess the Whiskey Live. And I just got to get my theme music before we start. I'll do it the same way, use the chat function. Wow, Hank, that's a out of left field guess after winning the first one. But let's see here. I think a couple people got it. So it's the Kilbeggan reference, water wheel. Also, little church in Gaelic. Number 2 was kind of meant to tell you which Kilbeggan it was. When this was first developed, it was intended to be a pot still. But while it was maturing, the technical file came about, which limited the number of other grains you could have besides malted and unmalted barley. And because this has a higher rye component, they couldn't release it as a pot still. So they called it small batch rye. So that's the reference to technically not a pot still. And if those three things didn't tell you what it was, I just kind of told you it was rye. So I think Kian, you were the one that got it first. Similar to the first guess contest we did on that. Another ceramic shot glass with some whiskey samples, a couple from McConnell's, as well as the Natterjack Irish whiskey blend. So, good guesser, good fast typer. It's kind of the Jeopardy theme's probably appropriate, because I know from if you listen to people who talk about being on Jeopardy, it's not necessarily knowing the answer, it's who's able to buzz in or use that clicker thing first. So anyway, all right, we're getting down to the reveal of the top 5. So the last one that was previously revealed before today was the third redbreast in the favorites, and that's number 6, the 15-year expression. This whiskey was a pretty big deal too when it came out in 2010 or 11. Can't remember exactly now, but it came out pretty much when we started the club. It had been released earlier as kind of a one-off through in France, the retail store there, but it was so popular that they decided to release it and add it to the permanent range. So this one, when it launched, was a pretty big deal. 3 additional years from the core expression, 12-year. But again, so not surprised that it would make the list. Okay, just whiskey sample on you guys. The Green Spot whiskey number 8 favorite I forgot to mention was the third whiskey. So it should say have a 3 on the bottom of the sample, and I think it just says favorite. On it. So apologize for that, but it'll still taste good. So if you want to do your pour, I did give you guys the Green Spot as well in the sample pack. So I'll give people a second there. I'll catch up myself. Getting ahead of myself, forgetting the all the different samples. So the Green Spot, again, I probably don't need to tell you guys anything about it, but you get that lovely apple citrus orchard kind of nose. And then the pot still spice and creaminess. So if anything, I might have thought this one might have even been further up the list. But I think number 8 is certainly respectable. Whiskey number 5 in the Guess the Whiskeys contest is actually in the sample pack too. So this is the one that should also be referenced as, it should say guess on it. Have the number 5 on the bottom. This one was only guessed by a few, I want to say. So the CIA reference in the first clue was a reference to Jack Ryan, which I think a lot of people figured out. But obviously that's only going to tell you the brand, not the which one. So the subsequent clues are going to kind of give you the idea of which one. Clue number 2 was a reference to famous Irish poem, which is basically the name of the whiskey. And number 3, beer reference, because it's a beer finished whiskey. It is not Next Parish Over. Again, might have been too obvious. This is the Jack Ryan, and the poem is On Raglan Road, which is a stout finished Jack Ryan expression. So this is in your sample pack. This should be the 4th whiskey, number 4. I apologize if I said 5 earlier. It's number 5 guess, number 4 whiskey on the bottom. And it should say guess on it. But I think on the nose on this one, you can you definitely pick up, I think, the stout beer finish. Again, cask strength. It's also got some Madeira finishing in here as well. So you're going to get kind of the combination of the wine and the beer. This is actually the one you're sampling. This is the Raglan Road 2 batch. I think we did the Raglan Road batch 1 when we did a Jack Ryan event a couple of years ago. So this is not the same one as then. I did want to get one of the guess the whiskeys into the sampling pack though. So I think actually trying this for the first time myself. So I've only had batch one prior to this. Anyone had this one before? This is 55.5% ABV, 6-year single cask, imperial stout finish. Marriage of Vinosanto, Madeira, and Oloroso malts, and then finished in the Brian Brewhouse Imperial Stout cask. So quite a lot going on in that one. So again, some of the whiskeys are kind of bunched up in a short time. I don't expect everyone to necessarily finish them as we get to the next one, but if you're like me, you've got multiple glasses going on. All right, so that brings us to the final five. So this is the live reveal. Didn't I'll also will be putting this out in the newsletter next week, and then it'll follow in social media postings after that. But these are the final five is voted by you all. So before I move on, this is another contest potential. This one might take a little longer. So this one is you're going to use the chat function again. No hints. It's just who can guess what number 5 is. And if you can guess it, you're going to win a pair of Irish Whiskey Society Irish coffee glasses. So I'll let you go now. All right. I should have known. Joe, you win. The favorite was number 5 was Red Spot. So Joe, that would probably be your go-to, right? All the time. You still have any of those auction red spots that you won, or are they all gone? No, it still has a bottle. All right. Well, you're the winner of again a couple of the Irish coffee glasses with the Irish Whiskey Society America brand. So I will be anybody who wins stuff today. I'll be shipping stuff out to you guys over the next week or so. Um, so I probably should be writing this down, but so far I remember who won what. So if you have questions, track me down. But I've got I think I have all your correct mailing addresses. But if not, and you won and need it mailed somewhere else, just let me know. But so number 5, Red Spot, that um, was a little surprising to me in that this was the favorite of all the spots. Um, but a lot of you really like this one. This one got, I think, didn't get necessarily, wasn't represented on as many what I'd call ballots as some of the other spots. But for those who did pick this one, um, they had it very high, like number 1, number 2, that kind of thing. So I think like Green Spot appeared on a lot of different ballots, but wasn't necessarily number 1. So I think that moved Red Spot ahead of the other ones. Yeah, and I know some of you did vote more than once, but I only took your last ballot, so to speak. Same thing with the guesses. Some of you guessed multiple times. I think a lot of you either do all this stuff while you're drinking whiskey and don't remember. Some of you, I think, signed up for this event 3 or 4 times. So either that or you're just really eager to participate. But in any case, congratulations, Joe, on that. All right, so got a couple of these left and a couple whiskeys left. We'll get to the final two, which are the last two samples that I think most people have. So this is whiskey number 6 in the guessing contest. And first clue, bigamist. This was a reference to a marriage of 3. So I don't know if that helps anybody. Cubism was a reference to Picasso, and he was born in Spain, specifically Malaga. And then, because those two clues could have been a little difficult, I pretty much just gave it to you in number 3. Mustard stain is just another way of saying yellow spot. So the bigamist, again, yellow spot is a 12-year-old. What was unique about this upon its release was, at the time anyway, it's not a like a finishing in Malaga. This was 3 separate 12-year-old whiskeys from Middleton, bourbon, sherry, Malaga, aged separately for 12 years and then married together. So at the time, that was somewhat unique. And so that was what the reference there was. Again, some of these I made the first clue more difficult. But if I did that, then I made like the third clue what I thought was really easy. I thought mustard stain would pretty much give it away. But so obviously didn't want to do that one first and have everyone figure it out right away. Um, but so again, how my mind works. So you guys are, I don't know if you want to know how my mind works, but if we do, maybe we'll reintroduce some of these contests along the way, maybe in the newsletters, or get to 20 years, we'll do it again. By then, we'll have a whole new host of whiskeys that I can choose from. All right, moving on. Number 4, Redbreast, 21 year. So again, this was an addition to the Redbreast core lineup. At least I want to say 10 years ago now, plus. At the time, it was the oldest Redbreast. So not surprised. I think the only thing that would maybe have made this one not be high up on the list would be the cost. Because it's fairly pricey, so a lot of people may not have had the pleasure of trying it because it's a few $100s for a bottle. But if you've had the chance to try it, it's definitely very good. So not surprised that it came in at number 4 in the favorites. So not sure if I'm coming across. We can talk about it in a few minutes if anyone's favorites have already been shown. But 2 more whiskey guesses left. We got another bonus live prize, and then the final 2. And then again, I'll open it up. We'll just do a general discussion. So appreciate you guys taking some time. Bear with me through all this, but hopefully you're figuring it out. So you'll be all ready for next time, or you'll just start doing the New York Times crossword puzzle now and every morning. But whiskey number 7 was my one plant to prevent somebody from getting all 8 right out of the gate. This was intended to be the most difficult of the 8. And the first clue was the one that pretty much was meant to tell you the whiskey. Not that I necessarily thought people would get it right away, but this was probably the clue that would give you the idea of which one it was. And what I mean by that, the second clue, double distilled, could be a lot of different whiskeys, so I didn't expect people to get it from that. Number three is a little bit more information, the fact that it's a blend and it's discontinued and it was double distilled. Though clues two and three probably should have told you that it was a Cooley product. And the reference to number one, a lot of people went down the road of champagne or wine, things like that. But actually, it was very much meant as an American reference. The champagne of beers, which is Miller High Life. The whiskey was Miller's Special Reserve, a very nice Cooley blend that was very popular at the time when we first started out the club. I still have a bottle of it. But wasn't necessarily expecting this one again. The whole idea of this one is I needed to have something in here that was very difficult, in case people were using AI and things like that. I wanted something to keep the contest alive through the 3 rounds. So I think I accomplished my mission on this one because nobody got this one correct. So sorry about that, but if you do find this floating around in a pub somewhere, um, it's just a nice Cooley bourbon finished blend. Um, you know, it's not a heavy thinker. It's just a nice one to kind of enjoy, particularly if you like the original Cooley bourbon blends from back in the day. Okay, so we're on to, I believe, number 3 in the favorites. So I don't know if anyone has any ideas on this one, but I think number 3 is another one from Redbreast, the 27-year-old. Number 3, Redbreast 27. Again, this is now the oldest in the core range of Redbreasts. They've done some older ones, part of like the Dream casks and some things like that. But this is the oldest in the core range you can buy here in the States. It'll run you, I think, well north of $500 now. Middleton had kind of jacked up the prices. Some places it was over $1,000 for a bottle of this over the last year or two. I think in addition to the extended age, two other distinguishing things about this one would be the bottle being, the bottle style colors different than the other Redbreasts that have the similar label. And then the fact that this one used port maturation for the first time in a Redbreast. So that, I don't know if everybody's had the opportunity to try this one, but the fact that it made it as high as number 3 tells me that a lot of you have. So definitely a nice pour. I'm not sure personally it's my favorite of the Redbreasts, but I think like a lot of things, it probably depends on the day, which one you're in the mood for. Okay. This is the last Guess the Whiskey. And we've got the final 2 whiskeys and the favorites, which will both be part of the sample pack for those that got it. Whiskey number 8, opposite, kind of the polar opposite of whiskey number 7 in the contest. This one was meant to be easy. I expected everyone to guess this one. The first clue was a reference to Roy Orbison. His 61 hit was Crying, which was then a reference to the brand Writer's Tears. And then the question would be, which Writer's Tears? Clue 2 pretty much told you that. If you're a Writer's Tears fan, um, the only exclusive sherry maturation expression from Writer's Tears is their single malt. And if you still haven't figured it out, I tried to pretty much give it away in the third clue. A bald lifeguard without sunscreen is going to have a red head. So that was the thinking there. I think most of you got this, although there were some that did not, were thrown off by some of this stuff. But again, this one was kind of intended to be, again, I tried to balance them out so they all weren't impossible. But I think what you'll see, we'll go over like each one in the summary and just give you an idea of how many people got each question right, kind of thing, percentage wise. But but this is if you're a sherry fan or a sherry whiskey fan, I should say, this is a really nice single malt. Um, I think it's Bushmill sourced, um, an exclusive red sherry maturation. You don't get a lot of those. So this is a nice drop for sure. Okay. Everybody ready for the last two? All right, here we go. Number 2, Powers, Johns Lane. Showed up on a lot of people's lists for favorites. And this is also your whiskey number 5. So should say, I think, favorite number 2 on it. And then on the bottom of the glass, it'll have the number 5. And I'm showing the new bottle variety, which I know is a little bit polarizing, I guess. I don't know if I'm in the minority or not. I know a lot of people are more partial to the only one, the older bottles. I actually like the new bottle, because it's got the iconic P. I'm a sucker for certain marketing. I like the bottle shape. We have a Powers virgin in our midst, Kevin, saying he's never had this before. So sometimes I don't know if people are being sarcastic or not, because I know on some of the chat stuff that happens. But welcome to the Powers fraternity. If you are trying this one for the first time, this is a fabulous whiskey. I don't think I'm telling anybody anything they don't know, considering it was voted number 2. So I'll just say a little bit more about the Powers before we, move on, and people feel free to chime in on this if you'd like. This was a very important whiskey because when it came out, this kind of dates us back to when we were starting out as a club. And I've told this story before to people on other events, particularly in the end when we kind of just open it up to discussion. But when we first started, you had 3 distilleries and you had very limited offerings. And even at Middleton, you had Redbreast 12, you had Jameson, you actually had things like Jameson Gold, the Jameson 12-year, things that have since been discontinued. And on the Powers front, you had Powers Gold and you had Powers 12-year, which was just an aged blend, but it was great. And at the time, it was considered by many, one of their favorite whiskeys. When this got released, they discontinued the 12-year blend, But this was a big deal because this was the kind of the first new single pot still to come out of Middleton. So you had Redbreast, 12, and you had Green Spot. You couldn't get Green Spot in the States. So it was kind of Redbreast and that's it. And that was the one Redbreast. So when this came out, it was a really big deal, and it, I think, blew everybody away. And I don't think it's really disappointed over the last dozen years or so that it's been around. They've since extended the range, adding the three swallow. They had the signature there for a while in between. They've added the rye, but I think this is still the one that most people would say is a go-to. They've also added the cast strength variety over the last couple of years. You can't get that in the States. You can get it in Ireland and in duty free. But it's just a great pot still. I think one of the things that differentiates this, if you're a big Redbreast fan, Redbreast has the sherry notes. This one's more of the bourbon vanilla. So sister whiskey or cousin, but different animal, for sure. So we're down to only one whiskey. So I don't know if you guys can figure out what it is. But before we get to that, I'm going to keep you in suspense for 1 minute longer or so. We're going to do our last guess the whiskey um, bonus. So here's your last chance, everyone, to figure this one out. Let me cue up our theme music. And like before, use the chat function. I'll reveal clues and go from there. Uh-oh. I stumped you? Hey, all right, we got a winner. I guess I should ask if you cheated and used AI, but so again, Bonder, JJ Corey, bourbon casks, reference to the maturation. The real clue was musical family. That's Hanson as Hank already humming along. Glad we have him on mute because we don't need to hear you singing Mbop. But that was the reference to the Hanson expression from J.J. Corey, the musical kid. They were kids. They've been around forever now, so they're actually adults. But the three brothers Hanson. And the fourth clue, if you didn't get it from those first three, was it's not a single grain. It's a grain whiskey, but it's vatted, so it's from different distilleries, actually. So it's a kind of a blending of grain whiskeys from a couple different distilleries. Available here in the States, pretty popular in the grain category. But that's the last one. So Nick got it first. So you're a winner of, again, the little trio of whiskeys and the ceramic shot glass. So some of you that were original members from years ago, may have one of these. These were part of the member pack when we first started. Have a few of these left. So, um, able to give them away as part of this. So congratulations, Nick, on that. And I think that brings us to number one in our favorites. Redbreast 12 year. So, guess can't say I'm shocked, given where the countdown was going and the voting was going. But this one pretty much shows up on most people's list somewhere along there. And I think this one um, was in the top three of just a lot of people's picks, and it just accumulated a lot of points as a result. I think we kind of honored the Redbreast 12 year last year as part of the Izzy's, put it in the Hall of Fame, or 2 years ago, I should say. Not retired it, but kind of recognized it, for what this has meant to the Irish whiskey category. So again, not surprised that this would come out on top in a voting like this. So, yeah, we could talk a little bit too about the favorite 15. So a lot of people, your favorites were, I'm going to say, not common. Might be the best way to put it, meaning, you had your favorite whiskey but it was no way it was going to garner a lot of votes amongst other people. So there were a lot of whiskeys that might have been chosen as the favorite on your ballot, but didn't make the top 15 because it didn't show up on other people's, because it was a weighted system in terms of, tallying up, because otherwise the favorites would have just been people's number one. Um, and there would have been a tie for like 40 different whiskeys, so it really wouldn't have worked. But yeah, there were a few very unique picks for number one from some of you, things that were limited edition one-off type things that um, I respect your choice as favorite, but there was no way it was going to make the top 15 because a lot of people probably never even heard of it or tried it. Um, but so um, here's just a little summary of, again, what we went went over already. The list of the 8 whiskeys as part of the contest, and here's the correct guess rate. So as I had mentioned, nobody got the Millers. Most of you got Barry Crockett and Redhead, or a good chunk of you. Um, you know, but gives you an idea of how um, amongst the whole group it was. But we did have amongst all of you top 5, and you're all getting awarded prizes. So I'll reveal that now. Coming in 5th place is Jason Souter. And so congratulations for coming in 5th place. Your prize package is a whiskey journal, couple of samples of Cullen 14, the Natterjack, and a whiskey water pitcher, Irish Whiskey Society America. Again, we had these back when we first started. Have a few left. So that's the prize package for number 5. The fourth place was Kate Hennigan.
Woohoo!
There you go. Congratulations. Um, and the sorry, prize package, Irish whiskey journal, one of the ceramic shot glasses, and a trilogy pack of the Napo Castle single malts. So I'll all this stuff will get sent out to you guys in the next week or so. So congratulations again. Number 3, or third place, I should say, was Tom Michaels. So good just rejoining a minute ago, just in time to get honored for your guessing abilities of the Guess the Whiskeys. So third place is a Powers Court 200 ml whiskey and branded glass of their 14-year-old. Very nice whiskey if you have not had it before, but you probably can still find it, but it's not something they're producing anymore. But a very good whiskey for when they first opened. Tom, are you on with us still?
I am. Thank you.
Oh.
There's some echo though. I had to join from another.
Oh, no, that's fine. So congratulations. Thanks for joining today. So good job guessing. Second place, John Corcoran. Congratulations, John. So, John, are you still on with us? I know you were on earlier.
I am. I just copied Nick.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say either that
Right,
or
Nick?
you just you delegated to all your staff to try to figure it out.
There may have
I
been
can't
some
believe you
delegation
accused-
involved. There may have been
believe you
delegation.
accused me. I can't believe you accused me of using AI. I knew that answer. The one thing that I knew.
I was gonna say you didn't cheat off of Nick because Nick couldn't guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't guess any of them. So.
Yeah.
No, I paid him off.
Okay. So second place prize. Again, a Powers Court 14-year-old with the glass, and in addition to that, the Irish Whiskey Society cocktail set. So shaker and stir and jigger. So congratulations. And the best guesser amongst the group, Kian. So
I'd like to thank the Academy for this and
Yeah.
all of the hard work I've done over many years of drinking. To all those who said I would fail, you were right, but still.
yeah, I was gonna say you came out of the gate strong, and then I think the couple you didn't have, you kind of
The
figured out.
mustard stain gave me one I wouldn't have got otherwise because I was thrown off completely by cubism. And yes, no idea on the Miller Special Reserve. So
Yeah, so that was kind of the idea. I didn't want to clean sweep out of the gate, but that was the only one you didn't get. So that made you the top guesser. And for that, you get a bottle of the Jack Ryan Next Parish Over.
thank you very much.
So I appreciate everyone who participated in the contest. Hope you had fun. I realize some of the feedback I got, I stumped a lot of you. But a little bit of trial and error. Didn't know how easy or difficult it was going to be, and didn't want it to end abruptly in month one and not have anything to do in the other 2-month lead up to this event. So tried to keep it ongoing for people. But congratulations to all the winners. We're all winners, right? We're all drinking whiskey. So, but so that's kind of the official program. We went through the 15 favorites, the 8 guess the whiskeys, had a few bonus ones there. Thanks again to the guys from HINCH, who walked us through their 15-year-old blend as part of our kickoff toast and the launch of their new whiskey. So I will get that out to you guys, when I can, as far as probably be tomorrow, but the discount code that they mentioned. So as soon as I get that, I will send it off to you for those that are interested in, if you can't get it here in the States or don't want to wait until, maybe it might be St. Patrick's Day out on the West Coast, for example. You can order it directly from HINCH. And that might be kind of a good segue. So what I'll do here is I'm going to stop sharing and we'll see who's left on the gallery here. This is maybe a good segue into anyone, because I know some of the chats we've had on the WhatsApp and some other things. I know it's been a little difficult getting whiskeys lately with the tariffs and some of the other things. Anybody have any real recent experiences as far as getting whiskeys delivered that they want to share?
I've had success from Irish whiskey auctions. So it was stuff ordered pre-tariff but shipped after the tariff. So I think they were doing everything through the October auction without charging, but they were going to charge up front for the tariff. So at least those came through. And I've stuff coming in from the whiskey exchange. So it hasn't arrived yet, but I've paid the tariffs, and it looks like extra shipping compared to last year. So I think they might be burying some of their costs in there, which means if the tariffs go away, they'll keep the higher shipping. But we shall see.
Yep.
I'd say on the tariff side, I had a free sample from a watch company, and I got tariffed on something for free for $20.
Ooh.
So there's no, it used to be under $800. They didn't worry about it. Forget about that. They're tariffing free stuff.
How do they determine the value to assign the tariff?
I didn't see the paperwork. I'm assuming they said it was worth $100, but they gave it to me for free. I'm a good customer. So, yeah. But yeah, so there's no under $800 just free anymore.
Okay.
So keep that in mind, because that could get pretty expensive with the shipping costs.
Yeah, it's definitely we're in a kind of a weird period that hopefully doesn't last too long, because they're definitely losing volume in terms of how many shipments are coming over now. And so it's not like they're collecting a ton of tariff revenue on this, and it's just hurting I'm speaking specifically on booze now. It's not without getting into a whole economic political thing about tariff purpose, but you can't replicate Irish whiskey here in the States. So trying to bring manufacturing over here doesn't make any sense when you're talking about Irish whiskey, and it's not collecting a lot of revenue necessarily, because a lot of people are not bringing it over now as a result, and it's hurting bourbon because it kind of goes both ways. So you'd like to think that they'll go back to the just getting rid of it for those type of products like champagne as well, because it doesn't really make as much sense, but for now I think we're going to be dealing with it. And I know from talking to some over in Ireland in the business, it's definitely hurt sales. in terms of what they're delivering here and stuff. So, and if you are doing it, it's just going to cost you a lot more.
It definitely goes beyond whiskey. I've seen normal shipments of stuff that I'm expecting to get delayed. I'm watching some other things that I've ordered through Amazon and other places that are coming from Ireland to see what charges I get hit with and then whether it's worth paying, especially as people seem to add in fees to process the tariffs that may be higher than the tariffs themselves.
The short answer is, in the time being, it's going to cost a lot more. They're going to get you one way or the other, paying a tariff, or it's being buried in the shipping. I guess anybody who has, that does stuff between now and Christmas, I would say try to share with the group if you can through the WhatsApp or other means that we have, to help the group along as far as info, because a lot of this stuff's changing rapidly. And I know in some cases, people haven't actually done stuff since everything's been in effect, because there was pauses made by, temporary pauses in some cases, like Irish malts and some others, where they weren't shipping just to see how things were going to shake out. But anybody come back from Ireland in the last, let's say, 30 days that may have taken advantage of the new rules about whiskey in their carry-ons?
Well, I just brought back 6 bottles total.
Yeah, did you in your checked luggage or in your carry-on?
Two were checked, and then the 4 I got at the duty-free shop. So I didn't put in the,
Okay.
So I figured I'd stock up because I'm not sure when I'm going to go back to Ireland, again. So I've stocked up while I was there.
What I'd be a little concerned with, Alan, is you go through security twice.
Right.
So the first security, yes, Dublin Airport, you can have 2 liters in your carry-on. I don't know if the second security, which is the US specific one, would allow, you can bring your duty free through there, but they may object if you get searched there. So it's an interesting risk. I may try bringing back something that isn't whiskey just in my carry-on just to see what happens. But it's a possibility that you could get through with your 2 bottles or whatever, and then be stopped at the second security.
Yeah.
What's the second security?
Customs.
Don't you do that in Dublin?
You do, but there's one before duty free and there's one after duty free when you're going down to the pre-clearance. I don't know if that pre-clearance one also allows you the 2 liters of other liquids to go through. You can bring through your duty free. I'm just not sure if they will say, yes, you can have 2 liters.
Yeah.
I'll try it and find out.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I was asking if anyone's done it in the last, because it's new. And I'll be going over early December. But like you said, I may try to find out when I arrive and just ask questions if possible, try to get an answer so that I know on the return what's doable and not. Because the last thing you want is to have 3 bottles or something in your bag and they won't let you
So
bring
you have
it
extra
through.
scrutiny on your return, Alan. That's perfect.
What's that?
Ask lots of questions as you arrive, just so you have extra scrutiny when you leave.
They won't remember me by then. I'm going to give them your name.
They know you well already.
Please don't. That won't work out well for you. I've used Hank's name several times.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. So anybody who has, it's changing all the time. If I find out anything, I will share with the group. But
Yeah.
yeah, and Tim and Renee, you guys just came back in the last week or so from Ireland.
Just me. I was over there for our clan gathering.
How everything go well? Because I know we talked about that quite a bit in May.
Oh yeah, I'm the new treasurer.
Oh, really? All right.
They roped her in.
So the celebration next time is gonna be even bigger and better?
Oh yeah, I gotta have a seat at the table, and now I gotta attend, regular council meetings. So yeah, I now I'm guaranteed to go to Ireland more than just with you, Alan.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Any Any surprises? I tried to keep up with the chat as I was doing it, but any major surprises or comments on the favorite 15? Oh, it'll be interesting. It's going to be difficult or at least more expensive, um, probably no matter how you're doing it. Because even stuff in stores the price has gone up, as I'm sure some of you have seen. The couple other things just to mention while I still have a number of you on. Uh, so now that we're kind of going to get past the 15th event, the next thing kind of on the radar will be the Izzy's. So this is the 4th year for the Irish Whiskey Society Awards. So I'll be kind of rolling that out over the next couple months. This year too, I'm gonna do it it's gonna be a little later in and that's gonna allow me to do the event on February 1st. The significance of that, because the last couple of years, the event's been in January, which has, I think, created two problems. One, NFL playoffs for some, and the other, dry January. So by having it February 1st, there's no football that day, and there's dry January's over. So anybody who does do that, you can go crazy and celebrate the Izzy Award. So that'll be the day we reveal all the winners of the categories that I'll put out there for voting. And kind of like today, there'll be a whiskey package available amongst those winners. But the nominations and voting for that'll be coming, over like the December time frame into January. So that's just something to look out for. That'll be in the newsletter and on social media for that. And I think the other big club news would be I'm putting together the itinerary for next year's group trip. So I think I did put out a save the date. So it'll be a little bit later next year for those of you who have come on the trip the last few years. It's been kind of Mother's Day week, mid-May. They moved Whiskey Live 2 weeks later next year, which basically puts the trip into the first week of June. So it's June 1st to the 5th, I want to say, is the week this year. And so I'm working on, I'll have more details. I got the time frame nailed down. I just have to lock in the visits. I know where I want to go, but it's a little too early, given everything going on in the industry with tariffs and closures and other things. It's kind of hard to book stuff a year ahead of time. So I'm going to start now, reaching out and just trying to solidify dates for some distillery tours, things like that. So that'll be coming. More information will be coming on that before the end of the year. For those of you who have come on the trips the last few years and wondering about next year, it'll be similar type of itinerary. It'll end with Whiskey Live in Dublin on the Friday. So same kind of idea, just different location, different than what we've done the last few years. So I don't know if there are any questions about that, but
are there any thoughts on the location right now?
Oh yeah, I have the whole thing in my head. I just have to nail it down. I mean, I hesitate a little bit because I haven't got it solidified, but I mean, generally it should be Kilkenny.
Okay.
Which is the birthplace of Irish whiskey, home of hurling.
Sorry. Tipperary has some objections to that home of hurling thing.
Well, I know, but that's why. And yeah, well, maybe we'll attend a hurling match there too. I don't know between the two of them, but yeah. So between that, there's some great pubs, restaurants, shopping, the medieval mile they call it in Kilkenny. Lots of things to do outside of whiskey too. So it should be a good group trip. I just have to, get the reservations and that kind of thing. So, and it was just a little too early to try to do that and get an idea of costs. So I'll be doing that starting now, and then put out more information to get bookings on that. But it's still whatever 8 months out, so we got plenty. We should have time. But for those of you kind of planning for next year, that's the week. And usually people kind of bookend around it on the weekend before and after and do your own thing. So it gives you plenty of time to do other things as well. But I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of to try to go to a different part of the country each time. So we were in Belfast this year. So now we'll be further south, obviously. Kilkenny's about an hour and a half, maybe, from Dublin, southwest, but more on the East Coast side, I guess I would argue. Middle, if you haven't been there, there's a lot to do there. Fairly easy to get to, with transportation if you don't have a car. So, but then I know the itinerary. I've kind of done it all on paper, but just been waiting to make the reservations and make sure that what I didn't realize until just this last week is that June 1st, which would be the Monday, is a bank holiday. So I got to make sure that that doesn't screw us up as far as what might be open or not.
So if you were planning on Ballykeefe, they're not open on bank holidays.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, right. So that's not going to be the first day because in one of my itineraries, that was going to be day one. So
yeah,
now it's probably going to be in the back end. But so the little things like that got to do workarounds. But I'll be doing that. So we got the trip coming up. The other big thing probably for next year, which would be after the trip, will be the release of our Mickle bottling. So we have a Mickle cask, which is a heritage pot still whiskey, maturing in a chestnut cask. So that'll be ready in July for bottling. Again, a little bit early to know all the details on that, and I purposely haven't been seeking them out because everything's been changing with all the tariffs and shipping and all that. But hopefully by second half of next year, we'll have a little bit more clarity. Who knows, things might be different then too. And but that's a quarter cask, so limited number of bottlings. I'll probably do a pre-order for people to lock in bottles on that, and then
Is that peated?
a little bit of it is, yeah.
Okay.
As someone who may have tried a sample of Allan's cask when they were in Mickle last year, I would highly recommend it. It was delicious if I had tried it, in fact. But yes, highly recommended.
So it's a heritage pot still, so it's malted barley, unmalted barley, rye, wheat, and oats. The malted barley, I believe that component is peated, but all the
So it's
other
going to be okay. I got you. So
but
it's
all
gonna be
the other
lightweight.
all the other components are not, and then it's matured exclusively in a chestnut cask, which is going to give some crazy flavor to it too. So
I'll keep an open mind.
yeah, I know you're not a Pete fan. I appreciate that too because it allowed me to drink a lot of extra samples of
Exactly.
the hinch peated stuff from the cask when we were doing the warehouse tour. So
Exactly. Trust me, I got extras from my wife my wife's samples she didn't come for, so it's fine.
But yeah, so that should be second half of next year, we'll see, we'll work out the details with them and then, make it available, if not early fall, certainly in time people get a bottle before Christmas. Chestnut Cask will be a good Christmas whiskey. But so we do have several things going on. The bottling, the trip, the Izzy's coming up, and then we'll working on other events and stuff. It's just everything's been a little kind of crazy, as anyone who's following things knows, with a lot of the distilleries over in Ireland. I think everybody's kind of trying to figure out what's going on with just the business in general. So, generally, I try to say, buy stuff from those you can, but I realize it's gotten very expensive because a lot of them don't have their product here in the States and probably won't for a while. So it's great that Hinch has been here for years, but it's been their source stuff. So the fact that they're bringing over their stuff's great. There have been a number of other distilleries that have released stuff in the last year. Clonakilty's here. Bowen's got their stuff here. There are probably a few others that will be releasing soon. So, but I know like Mickle's not in the States yet. So you have to order from them. But so we'll see how that goes. But try to line up some other events. I'll be over there. Anybody going over to the Celtic Fest at the end of November? So they're doing it's like a 1-day whiskey live at the end of November. So it's put on by Allie at Celtic Whiskey Shop. The location's different. It's over at the Irish Museum of Art by the Kilmaine Jail. So I'll be at that. And I don't think it's not as big as Whiskey Live in terms of vendors and stuff, but I'll connect with people like we usually do when we're over for Whiskey Live. So hopefully line up some events for next year in addition to the stuff I already talked about, and get some more intel on new releases, things like that. There's usually a bunch of releases between now and the end of the year too. Again, that probably won't be coming to the States, but they'll be released in Ireland. So stuff that, they do it for the holidays, things like that. That's why it'll be interesting to see what you can and how you can bring stuff back. In terms of shipping and things like that. I think I saw earlier on the chat a question. I didn't have a chance to read the answers because the questions were fast and furious. But has anybody tried the new Green Spot 10-year yet?
I have a bottle waiting for me, but I won't get to it till December. It's sitting in Dublin.
Yeah, same here. So the question, it's interesting. I was surprised at how big the release was because they're doing it at duty free and they have it in the shops. I thought that was going to be a Middleton exclusive kind of thing.
You mean like Middleton, very rare with the small number of bottles released each year?
Yeah. Well, that one, I think we all know is a wide release, but
yes,
they did a 100-year anniversary of Green Spot. It kind of popped out of nowhere. I expected that to be almost like the Redbreast Dreamcast kind of thing, where it's like it's gone in 10 minutes.
No,
so I made sure to jump on and buy some of those, and then
I did the same buying one, but no, it's appearing everywhere. So I think there's plenty of time for people to get them.
Yeah, which is kind of annoying because it's in duty free, and which means it would be very easy to bring back. Now, like the bottles I have are kind of in that limbo. Do I ship them? Do I put them in my suitcase? That kind of thing. Really big problems I have, huh? But
you just end up with multiple bottles of it.
Yeah.
And according to the chat, it's really good. So
yeah, so hopefully can get a bottle back for year-end tasting here locally. But has anyone tried the new Dingle 10-year or Dingle pot still? Not yet. So that just got released as well. That's going to be coming to the States, unlike the green spot. So, but not sure exactly when you'll see the Dingle pop on the shelves. You'll probably see it in California first, because Hodling is their distributor.
Okay.
So usually it's there first, and then it slowly makes its way to other parts of the country. It's been on the TTMB approvals for a while, for months, and they launched in Ireland, so I wouldn't think it would be long before we see it here in the States. But like a lot of people that are used to paying $30 for a bottle, if it goes up to $35,
Nobody cares.
well, no, it does make a difference. And I think for some people that are just used to only paying $30 a bottle, and if it's a $60 bottle, now it's a $70 bottle, so it does hurt sales ultimately. But so Kean, you'll be all set because you've got your warehouse.
Yes, I've planned everything on. There was a prohibition in this country once before, so I need like 10-year worth of whiskey. So I'm okay for the moment.
Yep. So no, I always plan for the zombie apocalypse, so this is kind of a similar thing. But although the zombie apocalypse were worse because they'd be knocking on your door, maybe trying to drink your whiskey. In this case, it's just there's no one coming for your whiskey yet.
Well, I will be worried about all of the people on this call at some point coming for my whiskey, but until that happens, and you'll be welcome with open arms, I'm safe.
I'll be there.
But anybody have any trips to Ireland coming up before the end of the year?
Going back for Christmas, I'll be there after you've come back, but just the week before Christmas till just after the new year.
Okay. So you'll be over there actually for Christmas?
Yes.
Have you done that before with the family over there?
Yes, once or twice since we moved here. But not that often. We usually spend it with my wife's family over here, and then I'll go and see my parents at some other point. But this year I'm going back over for Christmas Day.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, I'll be over earlier and I guess the Christmas markets and stuff will be going on. But I do appreciate everyone jumping on. I hope you enjoyed. I guess I'll call it the program.
Thanks for putting it together. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. So I'll look to announce more things as I can pull them together. But I would say I'll try to get the newsletter out next week. I'm going to work on, not that you guys probably care, but I've got to edit up the video of this, get it out there on the YouTube for people who couldn't attend, or if you guys really want to rewatch it, the riveting countdown, you can check that out again on the YouTube channel. But that'll have the the full list of the favorite 15 and all the Guess the Whiskey stuff, and the normal stuff, the cocktail of the month, whiskey review of the month. So I got to work on the whiskey review still. So I'll leave that as a surprise so you guys have a reason to read the newsletter. But all right, well, that being said, again, I appreciate everyone joining in today. If you have any follow-up questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Those of you who won prizes, I will be in touch and get those to you as soon as I can. And until next time, Sláinte, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Sláinte.
Thanks, Allan.
All right, thanks. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.